afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. Let's start with a bit of breathing to connect us. Sitting calmly, quietly, feet flat on the floor, close your eyes and breathe with me for just a few seconds. Nice and calm, and let all your air out and breathe through your nose, nice and slow, to the count of 5. And then out through your nose, also slow, to the count of 5. And we'll do that again 2 more times. In through your nose, nice and slow. And in your head, count out 5 slowly, breathing out through your nose. And count in your head again, in through your nose. And slowly out through your nose. That's called resonant breathing, and is a wonderful way just to get mind, body, and heart just more resonant. It's called resonant breathing. Mark Twain once said that the 2 most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. And I first was very fortunate to discover my why at the very young age of 51. And when I discovered this, I became empowered and inspired and excited more than I'd ever been, well, in a long time that I could remember. So if we don't know each other yet, my name's Tim Wagner, and I'm a previously burnt out corporate executive, now international speaker, and the founder of the PathFinders Community. So if you're part of the community and you're joining live, welcome. It's a pleasure. If you're here on YouTube, or you've picked this up recording later on and even just found it through LinkedIn, today I'm going to share a couple of things that I discovered in my journey of my life that got me from where I was in this chaotic, stress-filled, mad space of a corporate executive to where I am now, with living a passionate and fulfilling life of really doing what I absolutely love doing. So when I discovered this why, it was before my breakthrough. And let me start that again. When I discovered this why, it was many years after I actually broke through. But I remember those days in corporate. I remember vividly waking up every morning with my brain in a fog and just wishing for another hour's sleep, feeling those stress levels rise as I thought about the day ahead. Now, you may resonate with that. And if you do, just give a YouTube thumbs up. But this was a time that I could not imagine anything else apart from just, how do I get through another day? But over the years, I've turned this mess that I was in into my message. And I now deliver this message in a 7-step framework through my professional pointer program that I call Breathe. I'm going to share that with you just now. But the first start and the first step in designing the life that I actually wanted to live outside of this stress state came to me through the power of my breathing. And how do I know that this works? And I'll share a bit of my story with you now. Well, let's test it out. If you'd like to volunteer, hold your breath for the time that we're talking. Well, 100% guaranteed death is likely to happen if you stop breathing. So this is pretty important. And I began to design my life and moving away from living by default, which is that programmed state that we live in the most surprising of ways. And it happened to me a few years after I'd quit a 27-year career in hospitality due to the incessant amounts of stress and on the verge of burnout. And I clearly remember the chilly autumn night, sitting behind my desk. And it was over 6 years ago, actually, that I just saw problems on papers and on my computer where I needed to find solutions. And the years of this constant pressure that I'm living in had caught up with me. And I've just got no energy left. Everywhere I see problems. The relationship with my wife and with my son at home is just in absolute tatters. And I'm tired. I'm always feeling tired. I know that I need to take care of myself, but I've got no idea how. I've no idea what it is that I can actually do. But I did know one thing. I needed to get out of there. So without knowing any other options of what to do, I pick up my bag and I walk out of that office for the last time. I quit. I was done. I was finished. It was at the same time the most difficult decision I've ever made, and also the easiest one as well. Because back then, I didn't know I had a choice. I didn't know about coaches, even though I'd had mentors for many, many years in my life. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anybody I could trust. If only I knew back then what I now know. And by the way, here's just a quick point for you. I'm by no means advocating, if you're stressed or struggling or feeling like you're going to burn out, that you quit your job. Not at all. Back then, I had no idea. And if I have a look back then, I would wonder, if I knew then what I now know, we perhaps all say this at some point, how would my life be different? Well, this became the beginning of what I now do, to say there is an alternative way. So I headed out in search of the answer to 3 questions. And I remember this chilly autumn night that I couldn't even drive. In fact, I was so tired and stressed and fed up and angry all at the same time that I pulled over the side of the road. We lived in Blaarburg in Cape Town. I climbed out the car and I just sat there on the roadside. But I asked myself 3 questions, and perhaps you've asked yourself these questions at some point. Why am I here? What is my purpose in life? And the biggest question for me of all, who the hell am I? Now, over the years of my search and my discovery, I eventually realized that many people ask these 3 questions, and this forms the foundation of the Pathfinder community and the journey that I take my clients through to answer these through the signature professional pointer program that I have. But that's a discussion for another time. I very quickly realized that it was going to take a lot to go and find the discovery of these answers. And it connected a little bit with what I was doing, because I've been very passionate about personal development and speaking and coaching and mentoring since 2008, when I first started to host webinars and mentor people and do professional speaking. Although back then it wasn't truly professional, it was more just a passion, something I enjoyed doing within my businesses I had. But now that I wasn't working, I had more time to explore this, and I dove a lot deeper into my studies. And one day I stumbled across this guy who introduced me to breathwork. I wasn't even looking at it, and I thought at that point, I've been breathing for 50 years. How hard can it actually be? Well, I may have been breathing, but I was not very effective at it. And one of the first things that I learned was that when you shut your mouth and you breathe through your nose, it acts as a natural tranquilizer for your nervous system. This automatically calms you when you're stressed and anxious. Now, I found this fascinating and thought, but why have I never heard this before? So I started to do a lot of research, and I discovered what is something called transformational breathwork journey, which is a very deep dive style of meditation. If you've ever done meditating before and you've done a guided meditation where somebody's speaking to you, this is a very deep one in combination with breathing, NLP, which is the communication style, neuro-linguistic programming, and music. Now, when I first experienced this, it was as if a reset button had been hit for my mind, my body, and my soul. And for the first time in years, I discovered this clarity of mind and a peace inside of me. And I absolutely became hooked. And what I discovered on this journey was a way, through the power of something so natural as our breath, to treat the cause of our stressful reaction to external circumstances, and not just treat the symptom. So as I'm learning more about this, I slowly started to piece together what had actually happened to me those years ago when I was working in corporate. And I learned that it's not the stress that will actually kill you, but it's our reaction to the stress that will. When you're stressed, this is what I'm learning now, you breathe poorly, which increases your stress and anxiety and leads to health problems. heart issues, blood pressure, digestion, cholesterol problems, dis-ease, and if left unchecked, ultimately will lead to burnout. And here's the first tip. If you get anything from what I'm sharing with you today, this is the first and primary tip. Shut your mouth. Who knew it could actually be so simple? This is where my mess that I was in before has now become my message. And my mission is now to share this message with other like-minded, busy business professionals and entrepreneurs who are feeling stuck, stressed, soulless, lonely, frustrated, can't get to sleep. The monkey mind, that chatter just doesn't stop telling us stories over and over and over again. Here's the one big thing that I've learned and understood. These external stresses, they're never going to go away. Government policy, economic chaos, business demands, needing more sales, that you got very little control over on the outside. But once you learn how to harness the power of your breath internally, you'll create greater clarity in your day, influencing how you feel, how you think, and how you react to all of these external stresses. Now, within my program that I deliver, I mentioned 7 steps. And to touch base with you very quickly to give you an idea what they are. And it begins with your breath of life. If you have a look, what's the very first thing that you do when you're born? Deep breath. What's the last thing you do when you pass away? Breath out. That's why it's called your breath of life. And I cover what's called conscious connected breathing. I share breath hacks and also the transformational journey with you that was my first real discovery, one of those epiphany moments. I'm sure you've had those in your life as well. Then the R stands for reclaim who you are now. See, understanding self-analysis, who you actually are internally, not the societal program one, which we've all been taught by preachers, teachers, siblings, friends around you, but your true self. That's the key thing. And I've got many different programs to help you uncover and discover who you are. Then the E stands for establish who you will become. Now, what I've found is over the years in personal development programs, they all focus on setting that goal. What is on the outside? Here's the problem. If you don't know who you are intrinsically, internally, how are you ever meant to get to who you want to actually become? So you need to establish who you are, who you want to become, which creates this gap. I call this my goal activation plan, which is the how you actually get there. Then the A stands for aligning with your goals and your vision. And there's many different things which we go through here, including a deep felt finding of why you do what it is that you actually do. Then we've got the transform, which is the T, which is about transforming the mindset. In the end, our mindset, how we act on a daily basis, depicts our personality. It depicts how you deal with all of these external things and our changes and the world around us. So transforming this mindset through a process of creating the change that you want, creating as Joe Dispenza says, changing your personality to create a new personal reality. We cover a lot about word swaps, the power of language, and understanding how your mindset with your conscious and subconscious mind actually is formed, and also how it, through let's say, habits, how it then manipulates and changes how you react during the day, or how you react to circumstances during the day, I should say. And that leads to the H in breathe, which is harmonizing your habits, understanding how habits are formed, understanding how you can change your habits from releasing the ones that don't serve you to bringing in new habits that will help you in your journey and your path to becoming the who that you actually want to be. Then the E in breathe is about empowering your authentic self. How do you live your life by design and remain focused on the prize that you actually so badly seek? So if you would like more information and some deep dive, then join me in the PathFinders community. You'll find the link below. I'm adding more to this all the time. This is a community of like-minded people who are feeling lonely, lost, stuck, frustrated, stressed, looking for some personal development, but a little bit different from what you're going to find when you just go into Google, as well as stress release exercises. I've got multiple things. It's a free program at this stage. So climb in there, capture everything that you can, and connect with like-minded people in a community. Mark Twain said, "The second most important day of your life is the one when you discover why." So if you're ready for this, let's connect on a call. It starts with your breath. When you control your breath, you control your life. And when you're controlling your life, that's when you control your destiny. So leave a comment. You got any questions? Put a question in there. Click on the link that I'm going to share with you as well for the Pathfinder community. And if you're ready to start living your life by design and no longer leaving it up to default status, connect with me. Maybe I have a bit of a, well, let's say that I've lived the life, I've made a chaotic mess of the life, and I now have a life that I love to live. And perhaps I can also share and help you on your journey as well. So my name is Tim Wagner. It's a pleasure to share with you. And I'm here every Monday at the same time, 1 p.m. South African time, where I'm going to share something live with you. And if you've got a topic you would like to have discussed, put it in the comments and let's have a discussion about it. Have an amazing week further. Ciao for now.